Okay, so good morning guys, and I hope you are all keeping well after the holidays. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work through one of the questions that I gave you there just before the start of the holidays. So what we have here, so we have a histogram, and it's asking us, the histogram below shows the time taken in seconds for a group of pupils to solve a puzzle. So I've just taken the histogram here and blown it up. So along the x-axis we have the time it has taken. So we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have five different time intervals. And then along the y-axis, so if we take here along the y-axis, so this is the x-axis, the y-axis, it goes up in numbers of students, so it goes up in increments of 2, so we've 0 all the way up to 16. So what it's asking us to do is, how many pupils took 15 seconds or longer to solve the puzzle? So what we want to do is, we want to include everything after 15 seconds. So we can see here, so we've 15 seconds, so everything from here on in is included. So it's asking how many pupils, so what's the number of pupils? So we read the number of pupils off. So the number of pupils are on the horizontal axis, or on the vertical axis. So what we do is, so we have to include this bar, so all the students that are represented by this bar and all the students that are represented by this bar. So all we do is we just go to the top of the bar, we read across, so we just read across right over here. So we can see that the first bar, so this bar here, this bar represents 10 students. Okay, so you just read it, you just go to the top of the bar and read across, and you can see that it cuts the y-axis at 10, which represents 10 students. And then we look at the second bar, or the last bar, this one here, and we see that if we draw a line across and just read this, we can see that it's roughly 9 students. So it's 10 plus 9, which is going to be equal to 19. So you have 19, so the answer to question 1 is 19 students. So that's the first part. So the second part then, how many pupils took part in the test? So how many pupils took part in the test? So if we take question 2 then, so basically what you have to do here is you have to add up, you have to find out what each bar represents, the number of students, and then add them all up. So again, all you have to do, so if we take bar 1 for example, just go to the top and read across, that represents 8 students, so you have 8 plus, if you look at bar 2 and go to the top and read across, that represents 12 students, so 12. Take bar 3, go to the top and read across, so we're going across here, so it represents 15 students. If we go to this bar 4, read across, we know it represents 10. And then the final bar, bar 5, we read across, it represents 9 students. So if we add those up, add the 3 of them up, and we get, so I've just added them up already, so you get 54 students. So that's the number of students that have taken part in the entire in this test. So all you're doing basically is you're taking the total number for each group and you're adding them up, and that's what we've done here. You get 54 students. So that's that question. So let's have a look at the next one. So what is the modal class? So if we remember, the modal is basically, so it's going to be the number that shows up with the most frequency. So what we're going to ask there is what is the modal class? So remember, you can represent, so each of these groups, or you can call them classes, are represented here. So for example, 0 to 5, this whole this body of students is, let's say, represents a class of students. So basically what you've been asked to do is, what you're being asked to find out what's the modal class. So that's the class that shows up with the most frequency. So if we have a look here, so which bar is the highest bar? It's going to be this one here. So you can see it has, like, if you take all the groups, it's the group that has the most number of students within it. So what we're saying is that the most common, let's say the most common time that it took students to solve this problem was between 10 and 15 seconds. So this class or this group would represent the modal group because it shows up, it's the time period that shows up with the most frequency amongst the whole population of students that took part in the test. So what we're saying is that the modal class, so modal class is going to be equal to 10 to 15 seconds, and that's this group here, because it shows up with the most frequency. So that's what, so the modal is the value that shows up with the most frequency. So the next one then is within which interval does the median lie? So this is question 4. So question 4. So if we remember the median, the formula for the median is n plus 1 divided by 2. So what this tells you is, this tells you the position in which the median value lies. So what we need to do is we need to figure out, so n is the number of numbers. So we've figured that out here. So it's the total number of, let's say the total number of students in this case that we have. So it's going to be 54 plus 1 divided by 2. And that's going to be equal to 55 divided by 2. So 55 divided by 2, what's that? So 55 divided by 2, so 27.5. So 27.5. Now remember, this isn't the median, this is the position where the median value lies. So it's the 27, but so it's going to be between the 27th and 28th student. Okay, so or position. Okay, so basically what we're saying is it's the median value is going to be whatever value the 27.5th student, but it's not a whole number, so it's going to be somewhere between the 27th and 28th student. So what you need to work out then is, so which class group contains the 27th and 28th student? So if we think about this, so the first group, so this first bar, it has the first 8 students. This second bar has, so let's say these 2 bars then would have the first 20th students. So the first one has 8 of them, and the second one has 12 of them. Okay, so you have between the first and the 20th within these 2 bars. So it's not going to be, the median value isn't going to be between these 2. So then if we think about the next one then, so the third one is going to have so let's say you have the first 20th in the first 2 bars, and then if you take the first 3 bars, the third bar is going to have it has 15 students. Okay, so it has let's say between the 20th and the 35th student. So the median value, so that student, let's say between the 27th and 28th student, is going to be within this bar here, within this bar. So what we're saying then is that the median, the actual median value then is between 10. The median value is going to be between 10 and 15 seconds. 10 to 15. So that's the answer to question 4. So that's how you'd work that one out. So that's question 4. And then the next one, so let's have a look at. So what is the greatest number of pupils who could have solved the puzzle in less than 8 seconds? So the greatest number of students that could solve the puzzle in less than 8 seconds. So less than 8 seconds, the greatest number of students is going to be, so let's say, so this is 0 to 5 seconds, and then this is 5, let's say to 5 to 9 seconds here, or 5 to 10 seconds. So what you would be saying for that one, what is the greatest number of pupils who could have solved the puzzle in less than 8 seconds? So it's going to be, so you're going to include all this group, okay, because they've done it in between 0 and 5 seconds, and then you're going to include all this group as well. Okay, they're doing it between 5 and 10 seconds, or you could say between 5 and 9 seconds, let's say. So what is the greatest number of pupils who could have solved the puzzle in less than 8 seconds? It's going to be these, you're going to add up these two groups. So it's going to be, so this group has 8 and this group has 12. So it's going to be 8 plus 12, which is equal to 20 students. And so that's that one. So that's question 4. And then if we look at, so that's then go to the last question, the last part of this question. What is the least number of pupils who could have solved the puzzle in less than 12 seconds? So again, least number in less than 12 seconds. So again, like 12 seconds is going to be somewhere between, let's say, so it's everything below this group. So again, it's going to be the same. It's going to be this number, this group here, and this group here. Less than 12 seconds. So it's going to be 8. So it'll be 1. Again, that's not great. Let me just change this so you can see it. So it's going to be 8 plus 12, which is equal to 20. Okay, so that's that one as well. So that's the last question. So basically what you're doing here is you're basically taking the histogram and you're interpreting the information on the histogram. So it's very important that you can do that. It's very important that you know how to look at this and figure out, for example, how to work out the modal class, the one that shows up with the most frequency, how to work out where the median value lies. You need this formula, and then you need to know where that actual position lies, let's say, on the histogram. So that's basically how you do that question. So hopefully it makes sense. Okay, thank you for listening.